Welcome back to Season 3 here at FC United. Today, we kicked off the season with a game against Barnet, a team who, if we just look at the season preview, are predicted to finish just behind us in a playoff battle. We are going to hope to, get off to the perfect start today. We're at home for it. Not made a whole load of new signings since you were last here. I think people are going to be surprised by some of the returning faces. I'm excited to talk all about the new season, so let's get straight into this. But before we get into the actual episode, now that the intro's run, I've got to issue an apology to the Gala fan club. Remember Gala? Someone left a comment yesterday saying, "Where's Gala?" And I didn't have the heart to tell them that he was in the youth team and I was planning on releasing him. I mean, look, he played one game for FC United. He didn't even start the game. He came on off the bench. He's just not good enough. I mean, as good a set-piece merchant as he is just a liability the rest of the time. So, with a sad heart, I think we are waving goodbye to Curtis Gala, Parks of Prem legend of 1 or 2 seasons. I mean, yeah, 1 or 2. Yeah, three seasons. For kind of 2.5. Like, he was good in his day. That day's come and gone. It's time to take him out back behind the barn and you know what we have to do. Anyway, let's talk about some positives. And the positives really start with the news that we've not had to sell many players. We've not had to let many players go. And on the flip side, I've not bought a load of players in. You can see here a list of players released. A few of these have featured in the first team. Most of these squad players, the most notable player without a doubt is Sean Mikulski. Of course, he had kind of 2 good years at the club, but last year very much was on the periphery of the first team. Wasn't worth the £800 we were paying him, so we've let him go. Elsewhere, Harry Lee, who was an important player in our promotion season a couple of years ago, has left the club. He wanted just silly wages that I wasn't willing to pay. Only played 4 matches last year. His time in the sun has kind of come and gone. And now that we've talked about the outgoing players, we can now talk about the ingoing players, or incoming players, if we want to speak correct English. Only 5 players signed. That is going to surprise some people. It kind of surprises me a little bit, but at the end of the day, I didn't want to spend money unnecessarily. I feel like this year, I could have gone for broke. I could have thrown a load of money into the first team, but if we failed to get promotion, there's going to be issues with the wage structure and stuff. So rather than sign a load of players on £2,000 or £3,000 a week, I've been sensible, and I think we've made some really good additions. The first we've got is Mohamed Ibrahim, who is a Sudanese youngster. I don't know if I've ever had a player from Sudan in my team before. He was released by Arsenal. He's a youth prospect of their team, 17 years old. This man, I think, and this might be crazy, I think he could be a really good advanced playmaker on attack. Of course, as you can see here, he's a really well-rounded centre-mid, a player who without a doubt will play some regular first-team football this season. He's committed to a 3-year deal on very, very low wages, and a big thing to note is no release clause. There was lots of players I had my eyes on who were released from teams that we kind of looked at last time out in the upper echelons of English football, but they all wanted release clauses, and with the exception of just, I think, 1 player, we've signed a load of players who don't have those release clauses, because I don't see the point in bringing in a star player on a free and in 6 months' time losing them for £30,000. That, it just doesn't seem smart to have release clauses unnecessarily. A player who I was really happy to get without a release clause was Joe Duffy. He was released by Norwich 2 years ago now? No, last year. It was last year. Look, to be honest, he's just never really played for Norwich. Never played any first-team football, but for us, I think he could be a good little player. He will, without a doubt, start as our centre attacking mid this year, in behind the likes of Maitland and Gold. He can play striker as well, so some good depth there. And to be honest, I like the look of him a lot. It's going to be very interesting to see how he actually does, because he's never played a game of senior first-team football. The next player we've got, I think the first loanee I've signed ever at FC United, Frankie Terry, on loan from Colchester. His wages are really low for a player of his quality. He is going to slot in alongside Quansah as a centre-back this year. You can see him compared to Isaiah Kunu. He's already announced, Frankie Terry, that he wants to leave Colchester, and he's going to leave on a free at the end of his contract. So the dream scenario here is he plays for us this year, he does amazingly as our left centre-back, and then I can sign him on a free at the end of the year. That's the ideal way this transfer plays out. Whether or not that can happen, I guess, remains to be seen. But for this level, he's a very good little centre-back, and yeah, big upgrade on what we had previously. The final 2 players, 2 more youngsters, 2 potentially for the future. The first we have is Matthias Fuscini, I hope I've done that name justice. He's an Italian player, was playing for Norwich as well. Yes, that's right. We've kind of just raided the Norwich rejects, it feels like. He is the only player that I've signed that has a release clause. As I mentioned, the release clauses players were asking for was kind of stupid in terms of how little they wanted to go for. It's a release clause of £33,000. He's very good. I mean, it's almost certain that we are going to lose him at some point, so I'm a bit apprehensive about making him too much of a fixture of the first team. If we become too reliant on him and then he just buggers off, I'm going to be in trouble. But he does look very good. He's capped at under 19 level for Italy. Great passing, good flair. His vision maybe lacking just a little bit. His physical's not too bad either. He's going to be a good little versatile centre mid option. Wouldn't be surprised to see him force his way into the first team as the season goes on. And hopefully at some point this year, we can offer him a new contract without the release clause. And the final player we've picked up a little bit of depth at the right back position. We've got Shane Daly, who was signed from Dulwich Hamlet. If we just compare him real quick with Dylan Crowe, who of course is our star right back, you can see the difference between the two players here. They're pretty comparable to one another in terms of the types of players they are. I will say Shane has 20 aggression. He's an absolute nutcase, this man. But at 19 years old, he's going to be a great second choice right back, may even come into first team contention. Brought him in cheap, the only player that we plucked from the lower leagues of English football this year. Last year, he was playing in the Vanarama National South. This year, going to be interesting to see how he can step up to a new level, really, with us. And of course, just as a little reminder, AOK is joining us, but not till October. And, well, good news for the Nathan Harker fans. I decided that I was going to extend his contract. So he was a player we talked about letting go, but with AOK not joining us till October, I figured it was probably just safe to keep Harker around. And elsewhere, a couple of other players who I wasn't sure if I was going to keep on, whose contracts we did renew. Harry Wallace has committed his immediate future to the club. A 2-year extension on £900, has dropped his squad status. You can see across the board, the wages have gone up a little bit as we've stepped up. But that said, we are currently committing to spending £22,000 once AOK comes in. But the reality is, I've still got £5,000 of excess wage budget. So if there's some good players that pop up that we like the look of, we can go and sign them. Of course, with the non-league of English football, it's far easier to pick up players during the season. There's no registration windows until March time. I think you can't register any more players. So ultimately, this may not be the team that ends the season, but right now it's the team that we have. A squad made up of 24 players. And I think we've got some really good depth everywhere. So for today's first game of the season, we're taking on Barnet. Cabazuto has picked up a little bit of an injury during pre-season. I'm going to have him on the bench anyway. Elsewhere on the bench, you can see we've got Tom Sams, who's that versatile centre-back option who can just play everywhere. Very, very useful player to have. Fashini, the Italian youngster from Norwich, is also going to be on the bench alongside Harry Wallace and Rodwell Grant, who is still kind of kicking around at the club. I still feel like he can be a really good impact sub this year for us. I will say now, his goal scoring last year wasn't amazing on off the bench. If he doesn't step up, the striking position might still get a new addition. Of course, with Maitland and Gold in the team, I don't really want to bring in a third striker to ruin this relationship. We don't need a third wheel of a striker, but if we could find someone who's happy to be on the bench, happy to come on and get goals on off the bench, that is not necessarily something I would turn down the opportunity to add to the team. So in goal, we've got Harker. To his left, we've still got Declan, John and Crowe, the fullbacks that, I'm going to be honest, at least in terms of star ratings, they are allegedly the worst players in the team. In John's case, he's on £250 a week. You can see here he's transfer listed. The reason he's transfer listed is because he's been crying about wanting to leave. He wants a new contract to reflect his ability. I can't offer him a new contract now because he's transfer listed. But he wants £1,200. He wants to become one of the biggest earners as a 1.5-star player. So if the right offer comes in for him, I might just sell him on. Of course, we have also got Blake still, who can play left back too. So there's plan B if we need it. But to start the season, despite the fact I've got him transfer listed, despite the fact he's been yapping away all pre-season, I'm going to give him a second chance here to show us what he's made of. Of course, at centre-back, we still have Quansah, and alongside him, we've got the new addition in, I've forgotten the guy's name, he's not in that list of players, Terry. It's like John Terry, but his name's Frankie. Look, if we compare Quansah and Terry here, you can see they are two slightly different players. I think you could argue Terry is slightly better. He's left-footed, which obviously suits him playing left centre-back. He can also play left-back. The more I look at him, the more I just want to sign him from Colchester. But of course, for his current prices, I'm not going to buy him, especially when we've got him on loan and he's already announced that he wants to leave on a free. I really want to sign him. In the midfield today, we've got a bit of an issue because Cabazuto's out, so Jones is going to come in as the ball-winning midfielder. The ball-winning midfielder that I'm fully aware can't really tackle. But he's got the mentals and he's got the physicals to do this role. Technically, yeah, okay, I'll hold up my hands and say maybe we could do a little bit better, but I'm going to keep some faith in him. To his right, we're going to have Mohamed Ibrahim come in, the Sudanese youngster. We've already talked about him, but a unique nationality, great teamwork, great work rate. For us, he is going to play as our box-to-box midfielder just because he's got great physicals. He's good going forward as well with some decent technicals. And of course, to the left, we've still got Butterworth in the team, who stepped up last year, got another step up to do this year. At centre attacking mid, we're going with Duffy. It's his first ever game as a professional footballer. It only took him to the age of 22 to make it happen. And then, of course, it's Gold and Maitland up top for us today. No drastic change in system. We've really signed players to fit the system that we're playing here. Obviously, we're going to hope that in this first game of the season, we can get off to an ideal start. Barnet, though, not a bad team at all. A team who, not that long ago, were in the Football League. They are tipped to be in and around us towards the peripheries of the playoff spots. And, well, we're going to hope to get our season off to the perfect start here at home. And immediately there's a set piece to defend and a free header at the back post. And a minute into the season, it's the ideal start, everyone. I'm delighted. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? How are you that free at the back post for a header? How is he that open? Can we discuss that? That is... I mean, it's not great defending. I think that's probably a polite way of phrasing it. It was bloody awful. But we might have our own chance here as the ball goes over absolutely everyone. One kind of storyline, shall we say, that I'm interested to keep track of this year is, can Dylan Crowe at right back have another mental season? You know, he's got his assisting has been absolutely mad. I was about to say his goal scoring's been mad, but it hasn't really. But I'm curious to see how he does. I say this and then he gets left behind and Barnet scores. I mean, can he contribute enough going forward like he has previous years for me to excuse stuff like that? I realise that there's a guy called Barnet who's just scored against us playing for Barnet, which in a bizarre way, you can only really appreciate, can't you? It's like Matthew Lewis who played for Lewis for us back on FM15. He was born to play for this team. He's just scored for them. And you know what? It might be early, but it's time to get shouty, I think, with the players. Throwing on the near side, John going to give it to Duffy. Lays it off to Butterworth. Jones now with it. Nice little build-up play here. Can we get it into the middle? We can. Stevie Gold is there. Nods it down to Duffy, who scores on his senior debut. Rejected from Norwich. Told he wasn't good enough by Delia Smith herself. And he's turned up here and... Oh, you might be wondering, who was that at the back post to win the header? You already know who was at the back post to win the header. It was Gold. He nodded it down. Duffy on the half volley. Halves the lead the Barnet have. Not a bad start to the first game of the season. For the neutrals, they're having a great time right now. And well, the great time might just continue because we've got some defending to do here. Fotheringham. Ball whipped in. Crowe does get it away on this occasion. But only as far as Brailsford. By the way, this year, the pitch dimension rules are slightly different, so I can't have the narrow pitch from last season. So if you're looking at things thinking... Yeah, the grass looks bigger this year at home. It is a little bit bigger this year. I'm annoyed about it. I feel like the narrow pitch suited us quite well. We might have to adapt our tactical style if we can't get used to this wider pitch. Anyway, we've got the ball. Duffy has just played through Maitland. He's got a goal already, Duffy. He could get an assist, except Maitland thinks he's playing rugby and has kicked it straight between the sticks and over the bar. Crowe with a corner. He's going to take it. Gold's there, glancing header just over the bar. We had so many highlights in this game after 26 minutes. Neither team seems to want to defend. It's just shots everywhere. And despite having less of the ball with 35 minutes gone here, we have been the team on top. Of course, naturally, as soon as I acknowledge all the highlights inside the first half an hour, there's then no more highlights for the rest of the half. You can see here, Barnet really haven't done a great deal. They had 2 shots early on that went in. And that second half of the first half, they struggled. We created a lot, but we've not had enough highlights. We've not kind of scored enough, really. Gonna try and motivate the players. A good reaction from everyone. Let's look at the positives. Joe Duffy is playing really well at centre attacking mid. And elsewhere, Crowe's on a 7.6 because of course he is. But all these positives are good. I'd take a load of negatives if it means that we get a win to open up our season. Especially at home, this feels like a very winnable game if we do want to challenge for the playoff spots. Butterworth is played through really well there. Options in the middle. Goes down in the box. I think we're getting a penalty there. We are. I'm not sure if he was even going to keep that in. But you know what? We're not going to complain. Kay is on a booking as well. And he's just got a second yellow card. This game has just had a massive, massive twist. Stevie Gold to take the penalty. If we score this, we go 2-2 and level into this game. And with them being down a man, I will want to believe that we can make this happen. It's a confident penalty scored by Stephen Gold. His first in this division. The 4 finishing never bothered him anyway. And it's a good penalty. I do now wonder, do we go for this? Do we really try and push the issue with what remains? Looking at things, they are not playing with anyone on the right-hand side of the pitch. So with that in mind, I'm going to push Jones forward, I think, a little bit here. I am concerned about Jones on a booking, so I'm going to take him off for Cabazuto. Elsewhere, Butterworth's not had a great game, so I think we'll bring in Fashini as well and see what he can do at centre mid. And besides that, I've got Wallace and Rodwell Grant as kind of 2 potential other changes. I think for now, I'm going to hold on to that last sub. I don't really want to go too much more attacking just because I think we've dominated this game. It's just a case of turning this dominance we've had into a meaningful chance. They've now moved around their setup. So, John, you're going back. Crow, now you're going forward. They just keep alternating it. And you know what? With them alternating it, I can't be bothered to change it anymore. We're just going to leave it. There's 10 minutes left, though. I want a goal. You know what? You can both go forward. I think I actually had them the wrong way round earlier, where I was actually sending the wing back on the side. They had a winger forward. But that's irrelevant. We don't need to look at that now. Distribute quickly. Get it to the flanks. Out of possession. We're going to press like we've never pressed before. Right, 10 minutes. Can we get a goal? If they score down a man, I'm going to be annoyed. The ball's whipped in. Harker plucks it out the air just to find that new contract that we've given him. He's kicked it forward to Gold, who wins the header. But, I mean, he's flicked it onto absolutely no one. And now maybe Barnet with a chance to bring the ball forward. Morris has got him behind John, who can't get caught up. Good news for us is Harker's going to get a big, big save there. 7 minutes left. We're just being reminded that although they're a man down, Barnet could still score a goal here and snatch this. Can't afford to get too complacent, but at the same time, I feel like at home against 10 men, it'd be criminal not to go more attacking, right? It'd be criminal to settle for the draw here. I'm a bit concerned that our pitch is such a mess when this is the first game of the season. We've got another corner to deal with as well here. I don't like this. It's whipped in back post. Harker saves it again. Right, 5 minutes. Can there be a late goal for us? That's what we want to see. Stephen Gold not winning it in the air is never a good omen. I feel like if we want to create chances, he has to win that header and nod it down to someone, and he couldn't win that one there. Oh, now Barnet are working the ball forward. They could have an opportunity here if we're not too careful. Morris on the far side. He's bringing it forward. John is the man over on that side. Can he prevent the ball getting put into the box? He can't. He gives away a foul, and now he's going to be off as well. Both teams down to 10 men. It's an absolute shambles of a football match. I'm going to take off Maitland. John's about to get subbed off here, and I think it's going to make me redo these changes. If I confirm the change, you're going to take me to the tactics screen, Football Manager, because I've jumped the gun. You are. Actually, it did do the changes I wanted. Right, so we're going to play Sams at left back, which I'll be honest, I know he's a centre back who can play everywhere. Not the player I want to play left wing back. We've dropped the centre attacking mid. And then Duffy has now gone to advance forward, which is a role he can play really, really well, to be honest, even if he did in this game start at centre attacking mid. I'll tell you what, I'm going to drop Cabazuto, I think. Why is Maitland? I just took Maitland off the pitch. Football Manager, are you feeling okay? Right, we've confirmed the changes. Both teams have had a red card here. It's been a feisty first game of the season. Anything but friendly. I feel like we had our friendly games for the year. Turns out our players think competitive matches are just the opposite of friendly. As in they're unfriendly and you have to get stuck in and get sent off and stuff. I mean, with 5 minutes of added time, there could still be a goal, and Marsh has bursted through the middle. We need a save from Harker. We're going to get a save from Harker. I'm beginning to feel like I'm glad I didn't let his contract run down like I was considering when we talked about things last episode. He's been great in goal for us here. And there is another highlight. Crow, Cabazuto on off the bench, gives it to Gold. Sams has it. And I'll tell you what, the man who can't play left wing back but is playing left wing back has just scored in off the post. He's made it 3-2. It's the 93rd minute. Absolute limbs here. We've had a 5-goal thriller, 2 red cards, a penalty, and a sub has come on off the pitch out of necessity to play left back and somehow scored in off the post. You know what? Not a bad first game of the season for us, kind of from a biased point of view, but for anyone who decided to turn up. What a game that is. I mean, quite how they held it at 3-2 for so long, I don't know. Or 2-2 for as long, I don't know. Look, they really didn't create a lot. Stephen Gold, player of the match. He got a goal and 2 assists, if I'm not mistaken. So for any of the Stevie Gold haters out there concerned he wasn't going to be able to step up this season, consider yourselves silenced. that has to be one of the best games we've had as FC United manager in terms of just entertainment value. Maitland's out for a day. He'll be fine. Duffy scored on his senior debut. Round of applause for Joey Boy. We love to see that. And, well, Gold picked up man of the match, unsurprisingly. He was absolute top draw. And, well, that is as good a start to the season as we really could have hoped for. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video as always. Let me know what you made of our transfer business. I've been quite reserved in the market, but we've got that flexibility to still bring in players as the season goes on. I mean, the early signs seem to be that the team is still going to be pretty competitive at this level, which is what I was hoping for. If there's any positions that you've looked at and gone, that's a weakness, you should get someone there. Let me know where I should be improving, what kind of player I should be looking for. I'd be interested to know people's perspectives on the team that we've got here. All in all, though, really happy with that first game of the season. It's a win. It wasn't pretty, but they all count. I will see you tomorrow for the final episode of the week. I'm excited for this third season. It's going to be way more competitive. I can already feel it. Not sure when we'll be back next time, so you'll have to tune in to find out. And well, until then, it is me, Jack, and I'll see you all next time. I'm out.